What?
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Death Scenes and Cemeteries.
I'm your host,
Hello.
Roman Newsom, and this is my co host. And she is back this week, even though she
Yes.
does not feel good, Miss Renee
No.
Cody.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone? I'm sorry. I'm
And
sorry.
things,
Sorry for last week. So
it's
family
all right.
emergency.
I found some help.
Oh, you sure did, and I watched it. That was a great episode.
I did
So
find some
even though
help,
I
and
do love talking about
we made
Jerry
it
too, I do.
interesting.
Sure did, and I still,
Jerry's fun.
Jerry is an interesting character. So it that just all melded together.
Yes.
So.
But
Oh, Raymond. Uh-oh. We have lost Raymond. Hopefully Raymond comes back. Oh,
that was
and he's
me.
back.
Yeah, I'm losing service.
Just
I
I'm like
wasn't
sharing.
lying. Yep. That's all I was doing was sharing, and my service is nuts tonight. So it is what it is. We will
Yep,
make
we'll
the
see
best
what
of
happens.
it.
All right, share it out on my end.
If I drop in and out, I apologize. Because what can you do?
Exactly. So,
Sometimes. So we have a very interesting case we are going to talk about this week, and actually, it's going to be a month-long deep dive. So anyone
yes,
and everyone that wants to chime in on this, please do so. It's going to be interesting.
it is. And there's lots of information out there, lots of podcasts, lots of movies, miniseries, um, reality docs, I guess is a new way of calling some, documentaries.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and of course, you could always watch what Mindhunter too, because he's on there. So our hint, or Raymond's hint that he put up, that he sent me, and it was like, I know what we're doing right off the bat. So, which was good. So the Atlanta Monster, the Atlanta Boogeyman, the Atlanta Child Killer, Mr. Wayne Williams.
Yep.
So,
It is the
um,
Atlanta child murders, and let's face it, the AtKid that I put in the description and stuff, that is a code name for the case that the
yep,
FBI gave it before they even got involved, up till the point that they got involved, and it stayed that way throughout the entire case.
yes.
Ugh, I'm tired.
Um, yeah, tired. Like I said, a little under the weather. So, um, Wayne is still currently alive and incarcerated, of course. Um, he was born in 1958. Um, they have, let's see, obviously serving life imprisonment for the 1981 killings of two men in Atlanta, Georgia. Um, although never tied to the rest of these, honestly. Um, they believe they believe, quote unquote, believe that he's responsible for at least 24 out of the possible 30. Um, that happened between 1979 to 81. Um, I vaguely remember this as a kid. I do. Um, it wasn't really broadcasted out either, but it was once the wheels started turning on it and they made it out public. I do remember bits and pieces of it. Um,
Yeah,
especially
that was kind of
around.
before my time, and like I was telling Renee in the back, um, by the time I really started paying attention to things like this and stuff, they had basically buried it up until
Mhm.
Mindhunter. came out. They had
Yep.
their shows and this and that, but they weren't nearly as publicized as the others. So
Exactly. I always kind of forget to like kind of call them like the forgotten children of Atlanta. Excuse me. Um, Once again, Georgia, just like Chicago, big city. There's a lot of things of illegal activity that go on. A lot of shoving things under the rug, not to cause panic or blame anything in a certain direction in a time period where it could have gotten really dicey down there. So Wayne, he's the son of Homer and Faye. He was raised in Dixie Hills neighborhood, which is southwest Atlanta, Georgia. Both of his parents were teachers. Williams graduated from Douglas High School. He developed a keen interest in radio and journalism, to the point where he can. I thought this was, I mean, to me, it's kind of cool because I went to school for. He actually constructed his own carrier current radio station and began, frequenting the stations of WIGO and WAOK, where he befriended a number of announcing crew and was dabbling, becoming a pop music producer / manager. And he was also a freelance photographer as well in his spare time. So
yeah,
he's not our typical guy. Like, there's not trauma at home, two-parent home. Parents are pretty solid. They're teachers, you know? So, pretty much Williams first becomes the suspect in the Atlanta murders in May 22nd of 1981. But it starts, obviously, way before that, in 1979. So, he's just, I've always found this case interesting because of the lack of evidence that ties him to said individuals, but they closed cases with him attached to it, which always kind of made me go, something doesn't smell right. So, I mean, that's always been my thing. Something doesn't smell right. What do you think?
yeah. And what's even more interesting is even when after he was arrested, the FBI agents that were there from the behavioral analysis unit, they were not 100% convinced that he had committed all the murders himself, just the ones that he
Exactly.
was directly tied to, and maybe a few others.
Yep. I mean,
And they had other leads and stuff, and the Atlanta PD didn't want anything to do with it. The mayor didn't want anything to do with it because they had somebody.
yep. And it's easier just to get cases off the books is to just same mode, same stats as the other Vic. So let's just lump them in, get them off the books, because you don't want open cases. Not only that, these mothers were relentless and are still relentless to this day about not forgetting these boys, and we're in people's ears to the point where I remember. I mean, there was a sizable reward. I think it was like $100,000 at that point that it was offered. Muhammad Ali stepped forward and added money to this. Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra. I mean, they had a fundraiser that added more money into that because it became such a thing of where did these boys disappear to? Like, what are you doing? Are you doing anything? Or what? So, I just like I said before, I don't know. And you can't go by looks, and I look at him and I just go, but could he really do that? I mean, he looks like a shy, timid adult, almost kid like in a way, you know? Just I actually look at him and I actually think of Jackson 5. Like he could have been one of the kids in the Jackson 5. Loving his music and just love being the times that he was in. So, it's just and the way they went about things, I mean, not only that, they leaked his name to the press.
Yeah,
They
that
leaked,
was not just his
and
name, his address, his phone number, everything was leaked to the
everything.
press.
I mean, and he was being hounded, he was being stalked, he was being followed, and not only that, think about his poor parents
Yeah,
because
it it
still
was
living at
it,
home.
it was a sideshow circus. It really was. And at
Hmm.
one point, he even pulled up in front of the mayor's house and said, "This is what you all did. You put my name in the press and stuff, and this is what I have to deal with."
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So it was a complete train wreck when it came to an actual investigation, this and that and stuff, and a lot of that was on Atlanta PD. I'm sorry, but it was.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I would I agree with you. Just like I said, to tie that into the Chicago, you've got it's one of those big mecca cities. It's also one of those cities where a lot of things go in and out. This is, late 70s, early 80s. A lot of missing kids are coming around. There's a lot of, you know, weird, strange happenings, a lot of disappearances. And I'm sure there's, you really want to open up the files of that time period, you're going to tell me there's not more than just 30 that could probably be lumped into this that are missing.
I mean, there were probably even more than that. It's just
Mhm.
a lot of these even turned up as they found the bodies afterward.
Yep.
That's kind of why they tied them all together. However, a lot of the problem is none of them had the same MO. None of them had actually the same signature and stuff. Some were shot, some were strangled, some were stabbed. You know,
Hmm.
and
I mean, if you,
it was all different for so many of them. And then
mhm,
there's a few that started to have at least somewhat of a pattern to where they were able to tie it to at least
mhm.
someone.
Yep. I mean, at one juncture, it was a cluster of them. They were realizing that they all knew each other and
Yeah,
their families intercommingled where, you know, cousins were dating or somebody knew somebody's mom because they were in jail together. It was, you know, it gets pretty weird, especially, thank you, Susan, especially when they start seeing the cluster of, well, he was friends with him and this one and this one and that one. And you start see, so then it's going, okay, so it has to be somebody that
with within that
frequents
group
this
that
area.
that they
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And let's
Thank you,
face it,
Susan.
predominantly African American neighborhoods at that time, Black Americans at that time, we're going to have a whole lot of issues with a white guy walking into the area. So
which we lose. Are we back? Oh, we're back. Because you even lost
Yeah,
me for a minute.
yeah. We're
So
we're, we're back and forth. It does not like me talking about this apparently. Um,
apparently,
thank you for
apparently,
sharing out, Susan. You are greatly
yes, thank you.
appreciated.
Um,
We're bringing up big no nos and they're flagging us fast.
of
Leave
course,
me
big no
alone.
no.
This is an 18 plus show due to adult language and content. It is called Death Scenes and Cemeteries. And we
Exactly.
discuss serial killers and murders and, you know, all of that
Things
stuff.
that maybe and possible theories or
And
things that
possible
were probably
theories.
missed,
These
or
theories
better
are
yet,
completely our own opinion. They are not based in fact. They are mainly opinion based on what we've read.
exactly. And not only that, we just may not agree with any of the evidence presided either.
Yeah.
Which is that's our opinion. Like the one thing I
When most
do
of it's circumstantial at best, it's a very iffy situation, even when the
exactly.
person does not have a viable alibi. So
hmm the one thing that I take away from this is because obviously we want to talk about Mindhunter and we want to talk about a famous former FBI profiler, John Douglas. He was censured for his comments on this.
yeah,
He got in trouble for his opinion on this, which is he doesn't even think that he was possible to be connected to all of these guys. He wasn't
yeah.
sure.
Even whenever he was arrested, none of them were. He was like, I don't think he did all this himself.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Could he possibly have been, dare I say, pawn or middleman in this? Maybe to go into these areas and get these guys out?
I mean,
Maybe.
maybe.
And not only that, you're talking 1979 to 1981, and he's got a good. If we want to just go down this road, which I have done frequently with him, what is I briefly mentioned on it? What does he want to do? He wants to become a pop music producer and manager.
Yeah,
And these are all little kids. These kids didn't want to be the Jackson Five, didn't want to Motown, didn't want to sing and dance, and he's got this perfect thing going. Hey, come talk with me. Let's do this because I got connections. That too.
it's like I have an access to a studio right now.
Yep. So let's go. Let's go put some vocals down because out of all those, two of those are girls. Correct me if I'm wrong. Two, or I know one for sure. Are two of
Within
his
the
victims?
first 15, there was 2 girls in the
Two
original
girls.
first 15.
Yeah. I just there's for example, like you want to start casting some doubt on some things just to get the ball rolling with people, just to get them hooked in and then go look at this guy. Like I said, he became a suspect, in the early mornings of May 22nd, 1981, when a police, because now remember, they were surveilling him. So they were watching the James Jackson Parkway Bridge. That's over and out to give some people the Chattahoochee River, right, where a number of the bodies had been found. Okay. They heard a big splash sound,
Yep.
and
And
this
that's
definitely is
honestly how he first became a suspect because there's a splash, and then he was caught driving across the bridge and trying to turn around and go back across the bridge.
at 2:50 in the morning, which, when stopped and questioned, you know, he was going to check on an address for an audition that following morning with a young singer named Cheryl Johnson, which both the phone number and the name turned out to be fictitious.
Yep. So
So,
that ruins his alibi right there. Especially since he quote unquote did not go there. There were inconsistencies with whenever he spoke about his alibis and where he was that night leading up to.
mm-hmm.
And it was the multiple failed polygraph test.
Multiple. And then of course the hairs and the fibers that were from Jimmy Ray Payne were found to be consistent with those in his home because of course they went in, they found dog hair. He owned a dog. He owned a German Shepherd. Of course they ran the DNA to German Shepherd. And then there was carpet fibers matched the carpet that was in his house. I'm not saying he's scot free with everything. He's not. But those two adult. I mean, I was like I said to before Raymond. I said backstage. Maybe he was just tired of being a pawn in somebody else's game or being used.
It's possible because what's also interesting is a statement from one of his friends. He said whenever got to a certain point, he became somebody else. He would snap and he would go off on people.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't look like he was the type. He didn't act like the type, but he had a mean streak that very few people actually had seen. So,
maybe like that's what I said. Maybe he just got tired of being the pawn, or better yet, he got tired of what was happening. That too. You get a mean streak and a nasty streak. Then again, also like I've said, could we be a possible victim of something else that happened before that in childhood? Which of ours has, sometimes something happens to them.
yeah. But
So.
also the interesting thing is the fact that he has always maintained his innocence this entire time.
He sure. Yep, he sure has.
But,
Sure.
Bundy also maintained his innocence until it became a situation to where he could play it off and try to take and extend his life a tad bit longer than they were telling him he had. So,
Mm-hmm.
they all tend to do it for the most part. There's very few that don't say, "Oh well, yeah, I did it." Kemper was an example. He was like, "Yeah, it was me.
Yep.
I can tell you where they're at." Um,
It's just and with him, I mean, and if this was somebody that has secrets and wants them to be told, obviously, if he's maintaining his innocence, right? Maybe he's afraid with saying said names that could be that he worked with or whatever. He's afraid of saying anything because maybe those people are still alive. I mean, this is barely where people could be.
yeah, some of them may actually be in prison with him, or at least have contacts to
Yeah.
people in the prison with him. If he opens his mouth about the wrong person, it could be lights out. So,
Exactly. Because in 1990, he's filing, habeas corpus for a petition for a whole new retrial in 1990. But of course, the judge denies his appeal for it. Why? Why did they deny that? On what grounds? Other than, I think they said what
I mean, a lot of
the
that
judge.
I still think is political
Mm,
because also whenever all that started, they were still trying to get the international airport built in Atlanta. And so they were trying to bury that as fast as they could
of course.
to take and make sure that that happened. And rehashing that a decade later when it was still basically a fresh wound on the city,
Mm-hmm.
nobody wanted that. So I guarantee you 100% that's probably why that judge was like, nah, we're not doing
Yeah,
a retrial.
and then again in 2004, he sought retrial again. To me, if you're fighting this hard, then you're definitely, like, there's got to be some form of innocence there, or some information he's trying to say, like, hey, something else is going on with this. You guys are either missing or fail to see because you don't
I
want
mean,
to see
it's
it.
also hard to say who came in that prison where he was at and said this, said that, said this, said that, because
Of
information
course,
gets floated around a lot, even between
of course.
prisons,
Well,
and
not only that,
it's hard to say
now
what he's learned since he's been in there. So,
exactly, not only that, but sometimes information is what information's power. And if I've got something that can shave, hey, I can make a deal and I can shave some time off my sentence. I'm going to cash it in when I can.
yep.
So why not? You know, um,
I need to set up and
you know,
liven up a bit. Come on, people. Let's go. We're going to do some exercises. We're moving. We're going. We're going.
oh.
I am not
All right.
okay.
So
Um,
uh, we already know this. Um, he sought a retrial again with his attorneys arguing that the law enforcement officials covered up evidence involving a certain club. We're not going to mention that name here, but you can go think about
yeah,
what we're
a
talking
certain
about.
group.
A certain group, certain club, and the carpet fiber reportedly, quote unquote, linking him to the crimes would not stand up to scientific scrutiny. So what did the federal judge do? Rejected the request for a real retrial in 2006 in October.
So he keeps trying for a retrial, and they keep
Trying
denying
for a
it.
reason. He keeps trying for a reason. Um, into let's see, just so everybody gets, he's in Tavera State Prison, November 20th, 2019. He was denied parole because he tried. The next time he is eligible for is November of 2027.
So a little
So,
over
which is
2 years, he can try for parole
over
again.
2 years. But I'm not for him. But we'll go back. So like May 6th of 2005, the then police chief Louis Graham, he ordered the reopening of 4 of those boys between that were killed between, let's see, February and May of 81. Um, so and of course the announcement was met with welcoming relatives and his family and of the victim, because believe it or not, some people say he didn't do it. Some of those victims families are saying, I don't think he did it.
Yeah.
There are some of those victims'
And even to
families are
this
on.
day, they still say that.
Yes, because they say that the wrong man was blamed for this murder. So that's where it gets. Um, let's see. I mean, even Graham is saying that Williams is he even thinks he's innocent, but he's also I get, and then this is where that gets a dicey turn, because so that former sheriff ended up getting in trouble, and he's in jail for his own mistake. Well, I won't say mistake, but his own thing, because a homicide of a detective, of a feller, a man, an officer. So, I mean, he even says, "quote If they had arrested a white guy, there would have been a riot in the United States at that time
Yep.
for said reason." Um,
So it was definitely a complicated situation, regardless.
oh, it's
And
a
like I
complicated,
said,
definitely,
they were
because
trying to just make it disappear as fast as possible.
fast as they can, because I mean, there's lots of avenues down. Then there's people that they were looking at, suspects that they were looking at that really could have fit the bill, were quoted saying things about other Vicks at said time. Um, that's why they were being looked at, and then for some reason fell off the radar. And then while they're in prison, and there's a big, my God, this tells you how old I am. Spin magazine, that I don't even think Spin magazine's around anymore.
I
They're
don't
kind of
know.
like the Rolling. I don't know. I'd have to look at that, because I do remember reading Spin. Um, they used to do exposes just like the Rolling Stones used to do, and they did one themselves, and they did one on a suspect's name and his affiliation with a certain group. He had even said, "I did it. I did it," but then recants it, but then says he did it. So there's lots of puzzle pieces. There's lots of people to look at, and especially when you pull up the FBI files, like so those redacted. It's like, oh, interviewed so and so as a witness, and you're like, I'm just like, oh, I would just love to know who they were talking to, or they talk like, were they still, did they go back to this individual to talk to them? Because I'm going, this guy, I mean, what he's saying about a certain victim, I'm like, come on, you guys can't see the forest through the trees. Like, could, like, maybe A, B, and C are this guy, and it's amazing looking through those files of the conversations back and forth between agents and agencies, because you have state, local, and federal at one time all talking to each other or talking separately. So, but yeah, you can go. Of course, there's, like I said, there's lots of things redacted, names. You're just like, oh,
Yeah,
when you're reading it, and there's a juicy part, and you're like, oh, I'd love to know who that was. So,
and also in the FBI files and stuff, which are public as well.
Yep.
A lot of the names are redacted as far as this special agents involved with it, and they've also redacted the profiles as well throughout the files. And when I say there's a lot to this file, whenever you open the first PDF, it says part 1 of 9.
Yes.
There's 24 separate PDFs for 9 parts of this file. And there's a lot of information that was redacted, and I understand you don't want to share agents' names. You don't want them to take and get, stick them in extra danger that they might need to be in, or they're retired, so on and so forth.
Of course.
But
and
there's
and, and I
so much information, and I'm honestly still working my way through a lot of it.
hmm hmm it is. I
And
mean, it's
that's kind of why it's going to be a month long deep dive.
mhm,
Um, there may have to be some adjustments to the schedule based on my work schedule. I'll talk to Renee about that after the show, and
Gore.
we can figure it out from that. Here, it's mainly just switching days and this and that because yeah, my work schedule gets crazy for a while.
Yeah, of course. And you know what? And that's understandable. It's and
So
that's
we'll
like see, and
figure
I'm
out. We're going to deep dive and make this happen for everybody. Um,
exactly. And honestly, you should everybody should just join along for the ride.
yeah,
Go, you know what I mean?
we will
If
share the
maybe
links
there's
and
something
stuff
that
so
you missed.
everybody can join in and study it with us and help
Exactly.
break this down a little bit more. Um, we'll also try to find some interviews and stuff with Williams. That way, you guys can get an idea of what he's saying
hmm
in his defense.
Yep.
And
'Cause I'm sure he's had to have said something out there. I've just never bothered to go and because I've just never bothered to go look is probably what I should say because it's the truth. This is one that you knew something happened, and like we've said before, like with this case, what happens? You kind of let me put that down, and I'm going to go look at something over here. So, the Chinese something over here, and it's just like them, it gets forgotten about, which is sad. Because I mean, it is. It's an interesting thing. I mean, it has to be if there's podcasts and I mean, 2020 HBO did that. Mean, and granted, it's 5 years now, but during COVID, there was something on HBO like Lost Children. I can't even remember what the title of it was, but I mean, they
I
had a
remember
docu.
that. I don't think I watched it, so I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
I mean,
I'll find the name of that as well and add it to
yeah,
the list of things, or you can. One of us will. Somebody will share this information out so everybody can join in on the hunt for
yeah,
what could possibly be the actual truth. Because there's always one part and another part, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. So we're
hmm
going to take and try to narrow this down as much as possible with the information that we have,
exactly.
especially since, it was over 40 years ago. So,
hmm Yeah,
hooray, we're all feeling old now. Um,
yeah, pretty much on this one, but it's I mean. If you do a quick Google search, I mean, I didn't know this. I mean, there's songs rappers have talked about, and rappers have rapped about this. You know, um, I know Apple TV did something. I'm trying to remember. Oh, this is gonna. Oh, that's what it is. It's Atlanta's missing and murdered, the lost children. That is. It's a five part documentary series. So, yeah. So that's what it is. Atlanta's missing.
oh, yeah, and
Oh,
investigative
and
discovery. Yeah,
and
and
yes, and they do talk to him because there he is. Yep, I'm looking at a picture of him right now. Yep, so he does speak. So,
so 2019 was investigative discovery, and 2020 was HBO with a 5 part.
mhm,
So there's a lot out there. Um, it's going to give me something to do while I'm not either working or doing homework. Um, this week I have 2 days off. This was one of them. So we're going to make the best of it, and we're going.
exactly.
we're going to make it interesting.
Exactly. Um, what else? Oh, I mean, they did something back in. I mean, they did do something back in '85 on CBS. I mean, so it's been. I'm trying to look. Oh, James Earl Jones was in this, in the one in '85. I don't remember this. And Bill Paxton and Martin Sheen. So there's some heavy hitters that were in there. Rip Torn. So there's some Morgan Freeman. I wonder if you could probably get that on Tubi or.
And we may actually have interviews with him.
And then let's see,
So
in
here's
20.
one from 95 with him, one from 14 years ago, one from 2014, which is just 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
another one from 5 years ago. This one was a 7-year-old who escaped Wayne Williams. So, yeah, he was definitely probably involved. But there's several.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot. I mean,
And it looks like
and
I
and
started at least some of them at some point. Um,
I mean, I'm sure, I do remember seeing that being, a thing in COVID, that 2021. Um, I mean, another one, and I like, how did I miss this? In 2000, Showtime aired a similar theme because you know how they are. They take things from the headlines and make a movie.
yeah.
It's called Echo of a Murderer. That was James Belushi and Gregory Hines. And it was retitled Who Killed Atlanta's Children. So, I mean, there's been some stuff. So, there's plenty to digest,
Pl-
watch, read.
Plenty of documentaries, plenty of interviews, stuff like that. We will definitely share a lot of it between
Yes.
this week and next week and the week after. Throughout the entire month, we're going to take, like I said, we're deep diving, folks. So we invite you to
Hmm.
join along with us. Um, I am going to take a small pause here as far as talking about Williams and the situation that happened in Atlanta. Um, and just give you some updates. Right now, I actually have 2 interviews myself coming up the 12th and 14th of this month. Um, one is with Jonathan Myers from COPS. He's been known to pop in here and there and stuff. He may catch the replay. Hi, Jonathan. The other one is with Mr. Sean Ellis on Ex Eternal Wolfpack Paranormal Podcast. It is a mouthful, but Sean's a
It
great
is not.
guy. I'll be on with him on Valentine's Day. I'll be sure to share them out as well. And then of course this Thursday starting, Spirit Mechanics has their first topic of the year, which is the emotional toolbox. That starts at 9 p.m. They're talking about personal health, so that's fun. The schedule has been shared out on our page. Mr. Stephen Tyree, who's a mechanic and does a lot at the Missing Elements,
Hmm.
will be doing his show tomorrow night around 7 p.m. So be sure to catch him on the Missing Elements Facebook page. I'm sure I'll be sharing it out from work. I get to work 10 hours tomorrow, so we'll see what kind of mood I'm in by the time 7 o'clock hits. What's up, Keith?
There's Otter. There's an
There,
Ottersburg.
there's an Ottersburg. He's getting ready to hit the show about 8 o'clock
Yep.
this evening.
Yep.
That's Eastern time. It'll be 7 o'clock his time. But he's getting ready to come on right after us on our
Mm-hmm.
and of course we are on Parapost as well, and the Global Ghost Hunt Facebook page as well. Global Ghost Hunt has a new graphic up for everybody to check out. You're welcome. Thank you. Um, which I actually designed, so go check that out. And it lets you know that we're going to be in October. Things are happening in October. It is free this year. Sign your teams up. All you have to do is take and pay for your locations if you had to pay for a location. Sign up, either take and film in advance, go live, let us know. Right now it's the 16th through the 26th. We are looking to expand that depending on how many teams we have. So it may be running till the 30th. It may be starting on the 12th. We don't know yet. It'll just depend on how many teams we have that sign up. Hopefully, we have enough to fill almost the entire month. So keep us
That would
busy.
be nice. That would
That,
be
that
nice.
that'd be phenomenal. That means I wouldn't have to do anything except for
I
hang
I
out with
currently
you.
when it comes on, I do watch, I do share. Teams that are on there are phenomenal, and a good time. Why not during October when everything's creepy and crawly and scary? So why not go look for ghosts and
Exactly.
find some answers?
I mean, there are also people that sign up and do solo events and stuff. You don't have to have a team to sign up. You just have to take and say, "Hey, I want to do this." Sign up, have a
Hmm.
location, and
I
we'll make
mean,
sure you have a place.
last year there was a father son duo in a cemetery. Just saying.
And so with that actually covers the announcements for the week. Uh, for now, I'm sure there's going to be more at some point, but right now that covers what I can remember. My brain's fried. Not enough sleep and too much homework.
All
That
work,
happens.
no play makes me a dull boy. All work.
I'm joking.
Oh gosh.
We're going to go full Chad Gray scream on this.
We just went that way real quick. That's okay. Hey, that's how it is on our show. We have to, right?
It's like, and there went Raymond.
And
Oh,
then it's
he
like,
threw his
hold
microphone.
on. Shh. Oh, I got him back. Sometimes it's me going that way. So, especially with the research, especially with because I'm always trying to find some little nugget of something that could just flip everybody's off kilter. One thing somewhere.
I'm sure as we dive deeper into the FBI files and stuff, there are going to be little nuggets that we're going to be able to plug in there that haven't really been shared, I guess.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what we learn and stuff as all that's dug through.
Hmm.
Because honestly, it's probably going to be a lot. Um,
Yeah.
I've barely scratched the surface. I'm maybe like 60 pages into the first one, and there's 135 just in that one file.
Exactly. I mean, and I just
So
and with me, like I just bring up what's currently known, just to throw some nuggets out there for people to go. Because I mean, it's the truth. Maybe some people haven't heard about this, so when you hear, oh,
yeah,
he was
share this
being
out. Maybe we can get
share out.
somebody in the comments that has more information about this, has experienced it, because we don't
Hmm.
want to step on anybody's toes. We don't want to take and bring up hurt feelings and stuff because I know there's a lot of family members that are still alive, and
Yeah.
that is not our purpose here. It's mainly just to educate people about
Mhm.
what is known about the situation and what we can
Exactly.
figure out to try to hopefully help things.
Hmm. Exactly. Because it's
Because
not our intent. It's not our intention with any of them that we cover. Frankly, it's just that it's always good to shed some light on names, and that's how I look at it. Names are important. Once names are forgotten, you're forgotten.
because there's several.
Hmm.
There were several, and I know they have a memorial up in Atlanta and stuff. So anybody in that area, at least just take a moment for those kids' names on that list and stuff, um,
Exactly.
and their families. Just take a
Hmm.
moment. Even
Exactly.
if you don't live in Atlanta, you can probably look it up and still take a moment.
Yeah. I mean, I'll share it now. It's the AtlantaMonster.com. The podcast. He's he's dug pretty deep, like us, and he's looked, and he has a whole section dedicated to those boys and girls with pictures and information. So go read. I can't take you too seriously with that with that face. Sorry. We were in a deep moment, and then That's
Well,
terrible.
what's bad is the way my eyes are and stuff. Whenever I shake my head like that, everything is just blur.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why I was doing it because everything just turns into a blur. Um,
So yeah, I mean, you can
lenses
reach
start to
out to
detach, and I go,
Well, that's not good either. Like we said, reach out,
hooray for Marfans. Um, yes, please check
reach
everything out.
out, check everything out. If you find something that you think's interesting, throw it to the comments.
Yeah,
Maybe
throw it
it's
in the
something,
comments.
yeah, something that hey, I don't know. Maybe you've looked at this. Chances are we may have, or we may not have. You know, we're all in this together.
Yeah, because like we've said, we've barely scratched the surface on this.
Mhm. Mhm.
This was a whole storm of a situation, and we're just trying to pick out the elements.
Yep. I mean, when Raymond just set the tease, I was walking out the door, looked at my phone, and looked at Kelly and went, "Holy shit!" And he said, "What?" I go, "I literally was just about to text Raymond with this and go, we need to talk about this guy. Let's do this. Like, let's do this."
And I was like,
Literally,
let's take it a bit further. We're not just going to talk about Wayne Williams. We're going to talk about the entire situation from
exactly.
1979 to 1981. So we're going, folks. We're going.
We're going. We're going, and it's
Kelly, if
and we're
you're
in
watching, you're
drive.
sexy. I love you.
We're in drive, and we're forward motion. We're looking in the rear view mirror back that way, but we looking through the windshield, looking at the bigger picture going forward.
Yep. We're going to look at the big picture and look for the fine details all at the same time. One's going to look
Mhm.
at one, the other one's going to look at the other. It's like looking in two different directions at once with one head.
Yep.
So, or in four different
Exactly.
directions with two heads, one or the other. Either way, we're going.
It's one or the
Um,
other. One or the other. Because it's true. Because whenever we look at things, I look at things at a different point of view than Raymond, and then sometimes we do see the same thing in commonality, right? And
yep.
sometimes it's, did you think about this? And it's, oh shit, I didn't think that. I didn't go that way. I
And
waited
that's
for the next.
honestly a lot of what I'm going to do is I want to take and review everything and look at it from the way I view things, which
Mhm.
I've studied a lot of the information that there are on the bigger name profilers. Hi, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand basically how they take and review the behavior and stuff to come up with the profiles, and that's how I'm going to view it. Is from my point of view as an amateur profiler,
Mm-hmm.
and using my experience in writing the books about serial killers and writing them closer to first person, so getting myself in that mindset. And we're going to see what I can come up with as Renee feeds me information. Um, so
Exactly. It's the truth. What do? I find this. I say, Raymond, I think this, and then you go, yes, 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 but
let's look at
flip.
this way.
But look at this one little, this, whatever it be, maybe with Wayne, this time period between whatever. Did you see what may have happened? Something something happened here. So it's always good.
So it's definitely going to be a fun ride.
Mhm.
We'll let you know when we will be live next week. It's probably going to be a different day because, like I said, my schedule is nuts. Um, I think it's next week. It might be the week after. I've got to double check. I can't remember. Everything's everything's a blur.
Everything's a blur.
Say things, please, while I'm checking. Um,
So say things and stuff and whatever. No,
that was
honestly.
wonderful.
So, well, you said say things, so I said things. Just to be informative. Um, but yeah. So like Raymond looks one way, I'm just gonna go into researcher mode, pull out nuggets of information, pull out things that lead us down a road to a probability, could lead us down a road where it's a total dead end and I'm wrong. Um, or it could lead to, out of the dead road into a cul-de-sac and out back and taking the left on another road. Um, it's an interesting deep dive. I really hope a lot of you join us. I hope for a lot of, hey, did you see this? Did you catch this? Or did you know about this? Hey, take a look at this. Some interaction would be on this one would be a lot of fun. And you know what I was thinking? At some point, would Matt join us?
I mean, there's always a possibility that Matt and Mackenzie would join us. I can always ask. It depends on if Mackenzie's off work. Hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
Pinkie Pie's off on Monday some point or another, so she can come play. Because I know she enjoys talking about this. Matt likes talking about this. So,
Yep.
getting multiple views on this and
Mhm.
multiple thoughts and stuff that'll
Yeah,
make it even better. Come on, yeah,
definitely. Because that was that they were. I liked what a lot of things they had to say about Jerry in the last episode. So it's always good. And I always say it's good to have other people's opinions and thoughts
yes.
on people. So,
But
but
yeah, it is next week that I work on Monday. So we will
okay,
fund it. We will fund a day. We will make it happen. Um,
yeah,
even if the
fine by
time's a
me.
little bit different and stuff, we will find a day to make it happen and make it all the more interesting. That way, we can deep dive some more and
Mm-hmm.
bring what we bring best to our favorite show to do
Mm-hmm.
that we do together. Since this is the only
Yep.
show we do together, so it's our favorite show to do together. Um,
Well,
I'm running in circles. I,
it's the truth. It is the only show that we do together, but that's okay.
I mean, I'm like a Jack Russell with a broken leg at this point. I'm just running in circles. um,
So, but yeah, so that is our mission and our goal. So for the
it
next
sure is.
three weeks, we will be talking about Mr. Wayne Bertram Williams, aka the Atlanta Boogeyman. I love that nickname. So Atlanta Boogeyman.
Yep.
More ways.
And more about the situation that surrounds his case.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully more possibilities as to this situation. So it's going to be fun. We will talk to you all next week and come and hang out with us like always. It may be a different night. We will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it will be a different night because I can't do this show from work. I'll get in trouble.
You think?
Just a little bit.
All right. Everybody go to the Otter's Den on Facebook and hang out with
Yeah.
Mr. Keith Ottersberg.
Yeah.
We're
See
getting
the
out here
otters.
for the night. Thank you all. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
night. Thank you, Renee. And as always,
Thank you,
Thank
Rain.
you for watching Death Scenes and Cemeteries.
Sleep. Bye.